Hey, what's going on, Nitrosites? It's me, the Nitro General here, and welcome to another video. Now, recently on the channel, I did a video going over my personal, opinions on how to create Pokemon, competitive Pokemon teams. And I thought it would be a good idea to show you guys my two competitive teams that I use pretty much all the time. A lot of these teams I have used since I started competitive battling. This first team in general has been my full team since. I think some of these Pokemon. I think the only one that I had in X and Y was my Blaziken. All the rest that I got on my team in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And this actually, Metagross here, this first one, was the gift Shiny Beldum that you were given at like one of the first months of getting Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So yeah, that's how long I've had this guy. But so these teams were both of these teams I'm going to be showcasing today are my competitive teams. You guys are welcome to use these Pokemon teams, any of the spreads. It's totally up to you. But this is what I use, and yeah, so let's get right into the video. So this first team here is my personal team that I just use, not really playing through the games, but when I transfer them over into the next game, they're always my main team. Any team that I always fight against somebody new, I always use this team first because I think I've lost more with this team than I have with my second team I've been using, but I still win quite a bit with this one, especially because of my Blaziken, and you guys will see why in a minute. So the first Pokemon on my team is Metagross. I have always really loved Metagross. It's a pseudo legendary. I actually have two pseudo legendaries on my team, but Metagross is always a great Pokemon. Has always been a great Pokemon. It's got awesome bulk, it hits hard, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So really, I only have one physical type move. I know its special attack is only 252, so its special attack is not as good as its attack. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. But at the same time, Metagross doesn't get a lot of decent physical type moves except for like Meteor Mash, like stab ones. There isn't really any stab psychic type moves that it gets. I don't even know if there's any at all. So that's why I give it psychic. Psychic is pretty good, especially because it doesn't have a terrible special attack. But unlock the screen, buddy. And Flash Cannon, I usually give it. Sometimes I switch Flash Cannon out for like Earthquake or something because I already have a good Steel type move. But this Metagross is the one that I have used when I played through the game the first time. So competitive-wise, this is probably the least competitive Pokemon that I have. But it's also my Stealth Rocker. The only move that it has that doesn't do damage is Stealth Rock. I usually lead with Metagross, and I Stealth Rock just to get it up. Stealth Rock is one of the best moves, if not the best move competitively. So yeah, the item that I give it is Leftovers because Leftovers is really good. It heals them up every turn. So even that slightly little bit of health back, let's say they hit you with an attack that wouldn't have killed with 2, but the Leftovers gets it right up so you can get another attack in, maybe 2 if you can outspeed. So that again is why I like to use Leftovers and Black Sludge and stuff on Pokemon, because even though the health that it gets back isn't a ton, I still like doing that. It is shiny. Most of these Pokemon are shiny. Most of these ones I have either Shiny Hunted for or Breds for. So, but yeah, its ability is Clear Body. I'm actually not sure if it gets another ability. I can check though. Oh, Mark, get out of here. That's not what I wanted to do. It gets light metal too, so its weight is halved, which is not really that good, to be honest anyways. Clear Body is really nice. It helps with like Pokemon who try to lower your defense and stuff like that, or lower your attack or whatever. Clear Body basically just gives my Metagross complete immunity to that, which is really nice. I actually really like having that on there. It's not like the most I need out of like anything, but it helps a little bit. So that's my Metagross. Yeah. So the second one on my team that I usually use is a Salamence. Yes, I know its name is Lightning. It's a pretty bad nickname for Salamence. I nicknamed it that because it was super speedy, super fast, and then I realized that there's probably a lot better names for it. But once you transfer it over into another game, it counts as a traded Pokemon, and you can no longer rename these Pokemon. So any of these Pokemon, any of the nicknames they have, I can't change because once I transfer them over from Omega Ruby to Out and Alpha Sapphire to Sun and Moon, their nicknames are solidified forever. So, which kind of sucks, but I was like 15 at the time when I named them, so yeah. So the Salamence, again, is shiny. It has the Dragonium Z because on every team you really do want a Pokemon that can use a Z move, especially in competitive battles. Z moves are pretty good. Now I know the only games you can do that in is Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, so I don't know what other. I'd probably Scarf it, to be honest with you, because it is sort of fast. So if you can get Scarf on it, then it can outspeed a lot of stuff. Scarf or Bandit. I don't know. I'd have to look, at the stats and everything, just to see which one it is, which one I'd want to give it. But yeah, but as of right now, it does have my Dragonum Z. It's got Intimidate as its ability. Intimidate is a great ability, especially competitively, because you can shift out and shift back in, and it can lower your attack every time. So, like, if you shift out and then shift back into Salamence, it lowers the attack even more. If you send out Salamence first, then it's already just starting off with a -1 attack, which is pretty nice because Salamance's defense and special defense aren't great. I mean, they're decent, but they're not great, so lowering its attack would be pretty good. For the moves, I do give it Toxic because a lot of times when I don't know another move to give a Pokemon, I usually think Toxic is a good, just solid move to give a Pokemon because Toxic is just so good competitively. Poisoning your opponents can be the difference between winning and losing, especially if they have no way to heal the poison, which a lot of times the only way to do that is if they have like Shed Skin or something, or if they have like Refresh as a move. So a lot of times they can't. Well, I mean, there's some exceptions, but not very many, so that's why Toxic is pretty good competitively. I also give it Tailwind because that increases your whole team speed. So it's not even just the Salamance's speed, it's your entire team, which comes in really nice because I do have a bunch of speedy Pokemon on here, like Blaziken, Crobat. I think Melodic is pretty fast too, so yeah. And then I give it Dragon Claw and Dragon Pulse. I actually think he doesn't have Dragon Pulse anymore, only because, again, its special attack is nowhere near as good as its regular attack. Whether its attack is 168 and its special attack is 104. So that's why I keep Dragon Claw. But a lot of times, if you have a special attack and a physical attack, it's nice because you get a Pokemon that's more weak to special, then at least you have one that you can hit it with. And if you get hit with like a move that like Taunt or something, or not Taunt, is it Taunt? No, the one move that makes it so you can't hit in a row. I don't remember which one that is. You can't use the same move in a row or whatever like that, which some Pokemon use competitively only because, like, if it uses like Earthquake or something, then if you use that move, then they can't use Earthquake again the next turn. So that's why I have at least 2 attacking moves, especially on a Pokemon like this, because it is such a good Pokemon, and having it just have 1 attacking move, it can be a little rough sometimes. So that's why it has 2. But yeah, so that is my Salamence. Now, I'm going to actually skip over my Blaziken because my Blaziken, I'd like that to be the last Pokemon that I go over. Because it is insanely good. And it is the MVP of my team. And if I ever change this team whatsoever, which I probably never will, the only Pokemon that will never leave my team is Blaziken. As you guys know, Blaziken is my favorite Pokemon, and that is all because of this Blaziken right here. Literally, that's why. So yeah. So we're gonna go here to Crobat. Its name is not Crobat; it's actually Batsy. I don't know why it says Crobat on here. Again, it's shiny. It has a black sludge as an item because just as the leftovers do, it heals you every turn, except for it's basically the leftovers, but it only works for poison type Pokemon. So also if they use a move where they switch items with you or something, because like they have like, because a lot of times Pokemon will use like switcheroo, like if they have a flame orb or something like that, then they can switcheroo, give you the flame orb, you get poison or you get burned, and then they can switch back or whatever. Especially Pokemon like Diggersby who get like it's Facade that does more damage when your Pokemon has a status. So if you give it like a Flame Orb, it gets burned. You switcheroo, give the other Pokemon the item, they get burned, and then switcheroo back, and then use Facade. Or you don't even have to switcheroo back. But yeah, so giving that Pokemon the other item like that will poison them too, which is nice because if they're not a poison type. So that's pretty good. Inner Focus is its ability. Crobat doesn't have great abilities, but Inner Focus keeps it from flinching, which is nice. So like if somebody uses like Air Slash or like another move that they use a lot of times in competitive is Fake Out, and Crobat is not affected by that at all. And Crobat is fast. I mean, you guys can see its stats right there. Its speed is insane. It's its best. So Crobats will be outspeeding most things, especially if I send in its Salamence first. Get a Tailwind up. Crobat is awesome. And then so if it outspeeds everything, and then if I get a couple double teams up, and usually this team here is set up for double and single battles, and a lot of times people underestimate Crobat, I think. So I usually send in pretty much any of the other Pokemon they'd rather target than Crobat, and then you get a couple double teams up, and then all of a sudden they can't hit Crobat, and Crobat's just destroying you. Now it's got Cross Poison. Cross Poison is a great attack that Crobat gets, and it also has a chance to poison, which is why I give it Venoshock 2, because if Cross Poison does poison, Venoshock will do twice as much damage because it's poison. And that's just really nice. And then I give it Air Slash just because I need something else to give it, and Air Slash is a good stab type move. It also has the ability to flinch or anything like that. So yeah, that's Crobat. Crobat's another one of my favorite Pokemon. I absolutely love Crobat. It's one of my favorite shinies. So yeah. So we're moving on to Dusknoir. Probably the weakest one out of any of the Pokemon on my team, but I always love Dusknoir. And its defense and special defense are insane. It does insanely good competitively bulky-wise, so that's why I always keep it on there. Again, it's shiny. I give it the Life Orb because it doesn't hit super hard, but it does hit pretty goodly. Goodlies? That's not a word. It does hit pretty good. Its attack and special attack are both about even. It's pretty nice. That's why it does not have 2 pursuits. I'm pretty no. The other move that it has is not that. It's got there we go. It's got Sunny Day. That is the other move that my Dusknoir has. That's why I say it's set up for mainly. I mean, I switch between Sunny Day and Thunder Punch because I don't really have any good electric type moves, and I know Thunder Punch is not really a super good move, but it's better than nothing. And then I also switch between Shadow Punch and Shadow Ball too, depending. Shadow Punch is not actually that great of a move, but so that's why. But so I usually switch between Thunder Punch and Sunny Day because in double battles I will send out my Blaziken and my Dusknoir and use Sunny Day, which also powers up Blaziken even more, which is why. Will-O-Wisp was also another good move just to have, just in case any like my Salamence dies or something and I don't have, another Pokemon to use a move like that. At least I have Will-O-Wisp to get some of that extra damage. Pursuit is also an amazing move because if you guys didn't know, if you use Pursuit and they switch out, then basically it doubles. So let's say if they have a Pokemon that's weak to your moves or whatever, like ghost types, like if they send out like an Alakazam and then you send out Dusknoir and then you go with Pursuit and they switch out Alakazam, before they switch out, you can Pursuit trap them and do massive damage with Pursuit. And Pursuit is actually probably one of the best, I think one of the best underrated moves that in competitively, because of the fact that that it can be used to so much damage. So that's why I use it. And I never finished what I was saying about the Life Orb. So what the Life Orb does is basically makes it so it does more damage for the sake of some health. And being that it's so bulky and it doesn't take as much damage, I think Life Orb is alright to have on it because yes, it does take a little bit more damage, but it also powers up. So I think Shade is pretty awesome when it hits hard. It's decently bulky. I don't know. I always really, really loved Dusknoir. I think it was a great Pokemon, so that is why I have it on my team. And then almost the last one here for this first team is my Melodic. Now, as you guys know, Melodic is like my second or third favorite Pokemon. It's between Crobat and Melodic. I love Melodic so much. So, it's had to make its way onto my team. I ended up getting a shiny one from trade, I think. And it basically just stays on my team. I give it the Mystic Water because it powers up its water type attacks. I actually am not sure if the Splash Plate or the Mystic Water are better. I just give it the Mystic Water because I like the look of the item and the and the name. So, but it also powers up its water type attacks. I don't really know what else I could give Melodic. I don't like scarfing and banding Pokemon too much, only because it does limit them to only having one move. But I have banded and scarfed Pokemon before. That's why I said that's what I would do to Salamence. But yeah, so it gets the ability competitive, which means that if I go up against another female Pokemon, it'll do more damage to the female because it is a female. But yeah, so its attack isn't great, but luckily it doesn't learn any attacking moves really, except for like Surf and stuff. But its special attack is pretty good. So that's why I have, Hydro Pump and Scald, because Hydro Pump is a good move, but it also has a higher chance to miss. So if I'm really itching for some damage, I'll go for Scald instead, which also has a chance to burn, which is nice. And then I go with Ice Beam too, because that's a really good special ice type move that most water types can learn. And then obviously go with Rain Dance because you can set up. So if I go in with Melodic, I'll set up with Rain Dance. Sometimes I had Damp Rock on it instead of Mystic Water because it extends Rain Dance. But I think I would rather have an item that powers up my moves instead of increases X. I think Rain Dance is already like 5 turns, so I don't know how long Melodic would be out there because its defense and special defense aren't great. It does have pretty good special defense, but yeah. So that's why Melodic is always on my team because it's one of my favorite Pokemon. It may not be the most amazing competitive, but I think it can be pretty scary in the right situations. So, onto the MVP of this team. The MVP, my favorite Pokemon, the one that hits harder than any Pokemon I've ever seen, my Blaziken or Peppy Paw. Now, if you guys haven't heard the story, which I've talked about a couple times in these videos, in X and Y, right before Mega Ruby and Sapphire came out, and I mean like right before it came out, like a week maybe, if even that, I was wonder trading, and I got a shiny Torchic from Wonder Trade, and it was named Peppy Paw, and I was like, oh, that's awesome! I got a shiny Torchic, and I was already going to pick Torchic for my Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire playthrough. So I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to pick a Mudkip, and then I can just transfer it over. So I did, and then I evolved it to a shiny Blaziken, and I evolved my Mudkip into a Swampert, and then eventually Melodic made its way onto the competitive team, and Swampert made its way off. And Peppy Paw has stayed. Because, and obviously it gets to Blazikenite because that allows it to Mega Evolve. But, and it also gets Speed Boost, which is amazing. Blaziken will be outspeeding anything on your team. I mean, honestly, especially if you get a Tailwind up, Blaziken is going to be outspeeding most of the things. Now, it gets Swords Dance because its attack is already through the roof. Swords Dance increases it by 2. Then I give it Sky Uppercut and Flare Blitz for an extra stab, physical, great type move. And then Flamethrower just because its special attack isn't terrible. It's actually pretty decent, and then sometimes you need a special attack too. But, so, it hits super hard. And this is where, so let's say I'm going up against pretty much any Pokemon except for like a really good water type maybe, or really good flying type. So I send out Peppy Paw. The first thing I do is Swords Dance. Depending on what happens that round or how much damage that Pokemon does or whatever it tries to do, I'll Swords Dance the second time after it Mega Evolves. And then I go for the Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz is a 120 damaging attack. So, with this whole setup, there will be nothing that will live a Stab, Mega Evolved, plus 4 Flare Blitz. And if it's in a double battle, like I said, I'll send out the Snore and I'll use Sunny Day too, which not only is it Stab, Mega Evolve, and plus 2 or plus 4, it's also in the Sun, which makes Flare Blitz even better. And that is just, it is just amazing. I mean, it hits so hard. It hits like a freaking truck. You will not, I mean, Blaziken will pretty much be demolished or anything. And even if it uses Sky Uppercut instead of Flare Blitz, it's still Stab plus 2 or plus 4 Mega Evolved. It just wouldn't be in the Sun. It just wouldn't be powered up because of it being in the Sun. And it's just amazing, guys. Competitively, Mega Blaziken is probably one of the best Pokemon, and it's not because Mega Blaziken is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's because it's just amazing in general. I just love the Pokemon. I love the look of it, and it was my favorite before it got a Mega Evolution, to be honest. So, but that is my first team. So I am actually going to go right over here. I think that's how I get to it. Go to here. And I'm going to go over here to my second competitive team. This is my second team. I always called it my heavy hitting team because of the fact that it does so much. Now, the stats, you can ignore the stats a little bit on here. That's because I didn't take the time to go through and add in all my IVs and EVs to this team. I didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't want to be bothered with it. It's just too much work. So, you'll just have to, but trust me on this, and even look it up if you want to. But, the first Pokemon that comes in, and easily the best Gen 5, one of the only amazing Pokemon to come out of Gen 5. Actually, I have 2 Pokemon from Gen 5 on this team. Darmanitan. Darmanitan is great. It's amazing. It's just such a good Pokemon. It's decently bulky and it hits like a truck. And this team is a little bit more competitive than my other one. So I give it the Flame Plate because, again, that increases its fire type moves so much more. So that's why, so the Flame Plate is basically for the Flare Blitz. And a lot of times I won't use Flare Blitz until I know that the Pokemon is not going to hit me super hard and do a lot of damage, because Flare Blitz does do recoil. But that's like its best move. And then I give it U-turn because that's also a really good move against, like, if somebody sends out a psychic type or something, you U-turn, or a dark type. It does a lot of damage. It comes back and I can send out another Pokemon, like a free switch into another Pokemon. Taunt's pretty nice too because that only allows them to hit you, so that keeps them from setting up like Swords Dance or like, I don't even know, like other setup moves like Bulk Up and stuff like that. It helps so it can only hit you, like Recover and stuff. If you get a Pokemon that's using Recover, just use Taunt, and it will not be able to do that anymore, but it'll only be able to hit you. And then Endeavor. Endeavor is a risky move, but a lot of times, if Darmanitan isn't super fast, but let's say it goes up against a Pokemon that it can outspeed, and the Pokemon gets it down to like 2 health, and then you use Endeavor, Endeavor gets it down to the same amount of health as the user. So in some situations, if it has low attack, it's kind of like a last resort kind of move, getting it down to whatever. So if you're battling a really hard Pokemon that you can't really do any damage to, but it misses, or it tries setting up, or somehow Darmanitan outspeeds it, Endeavor will take it down to whatever the health that it is at, which is another reason why I very like it. And it needs Sheer Force too, as an ability, which is pretty decent for Darmanitan. So yeah, that's why Darmanitan is first. My second Pokemon on this team is Mega Gallade. I think Mega Gallade is actually my first Pokemon on this team. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll pick a Mega, and then I'll make a team to surround that. So that is another reason why I'm really sad that they're getting rid of Mega Evolutions in Sword and Shield. But yeah, so the Mega Gallade gets Inner Focus, which isn't great as an ability. You know, I mean, it's decent, doesn't flinch and stuff, but its attack is through the roof too. So that's why it gets close combat. And so again, just like with my Blaziken, I'll go in and I Swords Dance 1 or 2 times, and depending on how that is, I mean, that's a +2 or +4 stab close combat attack. That's pretty nice. Psychic is special attack, and it doesn't have great special attack at all, but at the same time, I need something that's psychic, and it doesn't get any, let's check out my Charizard shirt. It doesn't get any physical psychic type moves, which I don't know if there's any anyways, but, and then it gets Safeguard. Safeguard, if you guys don't know, makes it so you can't get a status effect. So it basically makes it so I can't put any of my Pokemon to sleep for a certain amount of time, which I just couldn't think of anything else to put on Gallade, so that's why I just gave it Safeguard, just to be safe. So, but yeah, the next one here is Slacking. Okay, so a lot of people hate on Slacking because of the ability Truant, which only makes it be able to hit every other turn. But I am pretty sure in the earlier games you could still get a Slack off with the Vital Spirit. Now there are a lot of people, most people I talk to were like, no, you can't. But I'm pretty sure you can, to be honest. Because, you know, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can do that anymore because it's been nerfed, but I thought you could. But I give you the Life Orb because, again, that's really good for Slacking. It does a lot of damage. And then I give it, you know, Brick Break, and Hammer Arm. Hammer Arm I do not use a lot of the time because it does decrease your attack every time. But at the same time, it's really nice if you have a Pokemon that it's super effective against. Then I'd use it. Another reason why I use Brick Break. Yawn is a good move too. It's basically like Hypnosis, puts them to sleep. It just takes 1 extra turn. So I mean it's not too bad. But yeah, and then I give it Slack Off. It's one of its moves that lets it heal. So it slacks off and then heals up to like 50% of its health. So that's nice. It's like basically like a recover for Slacking. Slacking is probably the weakest out of all these ones on this team, but it's also probably it's got me out of a lot of, because people underestimated, I think. So yeah. And then we go into Hexorus, the other Generation 5 Pokemon that I love to use competitively. It gets Mold Breaker, which isn't terrible competitively, but I give it the leftovers. And then I give it Swords Dance for Dragon Claw. Like I said, like this one doesn't have any special type attacks on it. I give it Poison Jab because you can get out of here, Nintendo. I give it Poison Jab because just it's another high damaging physical type move that as can be decent situations. I give it Dragon Claw because it's a dragon, and then Assurance because it doesn't get any super good dark type moves. And I don't know, Insurance can be good in certain situations. I'll probably sometimes I switch out Assurance for like Dragon Pulse or like Taunt or something, depending on the situation. But a lot of times I will use Assurance, even though I know it's not the best. But alright, so 2 more Pokemon on this team. Next we go into my boy Rhyperior, another one of my favorite shiny Pokemon. I give it the Rocky and Z. It's Z Rock Wrecker is pretty much amazing. That's why that gets the Z move instead of Slacking. Otherwise, Rhyperior would get the Life Orb. But yeah, Z Rock Wrecker. It's not Z Rock Wrecker, but Continental Crush. No, that is Continental Crush. With Rock Wrecker is amazing. Amazing. And plus you get Solid Rock, which it takes 3 force damage to super effective attacks. So it takes less damage to water, fighting, grass. I think that's it. Steel, I think, too. So that's it fighting. So that's pretty good. It gets Stealth Rock. It's my Stealth Rocker. Rock Wrecker I don't tend to use very much unless I use it for the Z move, because you can only use it unless it's like a last resort kind of thing. But that's why I have Stone Edge and Earthquake, because they're both super good physical attacking moves that hit hard and are just nice. So the only reason I have Rock Wrecker on there is for the Z move. So yeah. So on to the last Pokemon on my team, and another really good competitive Pokemon, Aegislash. One of the cooler Generation 6 Pokemon. Probably one of my favorites. Another one is Talonflame, but that can be enough for another video. So I give it the King's Rock, because it gives them helps with flinching. So just because, again, I don't like scarfing and banning Pokemon too much. And then I give it gets stance change, goes between its defense and its attack form. It gets Shadow Ball because that's decent, because it's got both its special attack and attack are pretty balanced. So it gets Shadow Ball and Night Slash as being good physical type moves. Iron Head is another really good stab move for it. And then it gets its signature move, King Shield, which not only protects the Pokemon, but lowers, I think, what does it do? Lowers... what does it do? Protects you from attacks, but I thought there was something else that it did. Pretty sure it lowers something else. It's not just like another protect. But, yeah, so that's why it gets the King's Shield. But, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. These are my 2 competitive teams, and I thought I'd share it with you and talk about it, because they're the ones that probably will never change no matter what I do with my competitive career. So, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below. I would highly appreciate it. Check out some of my other videos too. I got a bunch on the channel. I do top 5s, do movie reviews, Pokemon videos, some news on Pokemon Sword and Shield, but like I said, I don't like to spoil myself. But other than that, guys, that is really it for me. I would really appreciate if you leave a like down below and subscribe. And if you don't want to miss a video, make sure to hit that bell. But other than that, guys, I will see you whenever I see you next. The Nitro General's out. Peace.